Cleo Day. Welcome to the stage of STGCC. And last but not least, Peter from Newbie Geeks as a moderator. So I'm gonna pass the stage to you.
Thank you, Master. So, welcome once again to STGCC 2015. Thank you for joining us at the Women in Comics in the 21st Century panel. I am not a woman, unfortunately. I wish I was one. But these three wonderful people are, and once again they are Camilla, Agnes Garbowska, and Cleo Day. How about we start with so welcome back to Singapore. You were last year, or first year, as a guest of STGCC in 2009.
Yeah, it's been 6 years, which it seems like no time has passed, honestly. But Singapore's changed a lot. You guys can hear me? Okay, good.
Can you hear?
Yeah. Can you is that better? Okay, good. I only get louder, so don't worry. But no, I mean, Singapore is beautiful. I don't often get to come to Asia, but I'm really excited to be back.
Thank you. And Agnes, it's your first time here.
Yep, my very first time in Singapore.
And you're still so chirpy after a 24-hour flight.
Oh, it wasn't 24 hours. How long? Actually, the first flight was about 14 hours. I had about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour layover, and then the next flight was 4 hours. So, yeah, it actually was a really long journey, wasn't it? I just slept on the first half for like a good 8 hours, and that helped me adjust. But I'm just happy to be here.
Thank you. And Cleo, how long did it take you to get to MBS?
It's quite a short walk with the Circle Line.
Oh. Okay, so perhaps we could just introduce ourselves a little bit more. How do you get started in comics and what inspired you?
Okay, well, when I tell you how I got started, it's going to give away how old I am, but my first comic convention was in San Diego in 1998. I'm going to let you do the math and not tell you how old I am, but it was been a long time. And when I first went to Comic-Con, I had no idea. It was my very first convention, and I went to San Diego. And I got started by just going to publishers and doing the portfolio reviews and just meeting, like going to the booths and showing them my artwork, which was terrible at the time. I mean, it's been a long time. And I remember doing Darkness versus Pikachu and showing like Top Cow, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. And they're like, that's really neat, but that's never going to happen. Like, I think it should. I think it'd be a great crossover, don't you? Like Pokemon versus Witchblade. Yeah, that's got to happen. So yeah, I started way back then, and I got my first start with a local company in Seattle, and I've been been published since 1999.
Wow, yeah. 16 years.
That's a long time.
Agnes, how did you get started?
I've been in comics now for about, I keep saying 10 years, but I've been saying 10 years for over a year now, so I'm guessing it's more like 11 plus years. I started attending comic shows in high school, but I never thought comics would be something I wanted to do. I liked it, but never was it registered could be a job, because I thought I wanted to be an animator, so I actually went to school for animation. I learned something. I hate animating, but I learned something else. Even though I hated animating, I liked telling a story. So then I'm like, okay, I learned I like character design, telling a story. Wait a minute, comic books. So I started working in small press, and I started self-publishing, which is where a lot of people start out. And just like Camilla, I started showing around my portfolio. No matter how busy I was, I always made sure to work on a portfolio. And you have to go to conventions, you have to meet people and editors. It's important to meet editors, and you have to get critiqued. You have to have someone tell you you suck really, really bad to make you get good. So I got slaughtered. My portfolios were, now that I think about it, they were really bad. The back ones were pretty good, but everything else of them was really, really bad. And that's how I got started, showing my portfolio, and then a lot of small press. I got my big break in 2009 with Marvel Comics. So I worked on Spider-Ham and Girl comics for Marvel. And then really after that, it started taking off. I kept self-publishing because I believe if you don't have work, you make work for yourself. And I used my portfolio, which was I just printed out my webcomics, put them in a nice collected edition. I put money into it, so it was a very presentable portfolio, and it was something that was updated all the time. And I showed that to editors, and I showed it to an editor at IDW, and I told them I really wanted to work on ponies because I grew up with ponies. I think they heard it many, many times, but he liked the way I told the story. So I didn't show pony work to get a pony job. I showed them sequential art that they really liked the way I told the story, the way I drew the characters, and the way I colored the books. So they're like, oh, well, let me show this to Bobby. He had this My Little Pony. Maybe something will come out of it. So Bobby got a copy of that book from the other editor, and Bobby's like, hey, I really like the way you tell a story. But let's see if something pops up with My Little Pony. I'm not sure if he could draw it. Luckily, my art rep, Bob Shaw, needed an exclusive cover for Boston Comic Con, and he was like, Agnes, you have a connection with IDW, don't you? I'm like, they have my book. So he was like, hey, how about you connect me to the editor and I'll push your name forward to do the exclusive. I'm like, okay. And it worked out. And I could draw ponies. Trust me, the first pony I drew, it was ugly. I wouldn't have gotten hired if I had done that first pony. But I kept drawing and drawing until I had a really good cover layout, and I presented it to Bobby, and he's like, yeah, great job. So I wrapped up the cover, within a week, I got another cover job. Bobby's like, hey, we need you to work on, I don't know if you guys have Hot Topic here, but we have in America, they sell a lot of products. And I started doing the Hot Topic covers, and he's like, oh, you're really good at this. So let's just keep giving you cover work. And then that's how I got started, is I proved myself, but not by showing ponies, but just by showing that I could tell a good story.
Thank you. Cleo, how did you get started?
I got started back when I was in Set 1. I joined Singapore Press Holdings, and I did Sunday comic strips on a newspaper which was called Friday Weekly. That was mainly for local student population, but I think now they rebranded and they became something else, so that was how I got started. And then in junior college, I did an internship at a local comic studio. It was TCZ Studio. I think some of you know that. It's run by a local comic artist, Mr. Lee Bing. So I did coloring for his TCZ series, The Celestial Zone, and eventually I got to know some people, and my first published work is actually from an initiative by MTA, and they had the First Time Writers and Illustrators Initiative back in, I think, 2010, the second time they had it, and they were looking for 10 different artists to come up with a combined anthology based on fantasy as well as science fiction. So I pitched for that and I got selected. So that was the first time. Currently, I am teaching full-time because I need to feed myself. But I also publish online comics, again with TCZ Studio, and I'm now being serialized online in Comics Map. Y'all can check it out. It's all local, original short stories.
Cool, thank you very much. So,
Oh, sorry, I just feel like I totally didn't elaborate at all. I was like, oh, I got started in comics and that's it. Happened, like, so much more happened in the 16 years than just I got published. So, can I elaborate just so? I don't know, I usually talk a lot, and this time I was like, nah, one sentence. Sorry. Yeah, so I started with like a small independent company, and it's funny because I've worked for the larger companies like Dark Horse and DC, but I've never worked on like the superhero comics. I've always sort of stuck with the independent stories, like Nightmares and Fairy Tales, and I did Buffy though. I did a comic for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's sort of like my big thing. But all of my comics have been like independent stories, and so it's really neat because I've never had the opportunity to draw a superhero. I don't know if I would though. I don't know. Spandex for me isn't really my thing. So, but I started working for smaller companies until I worked my way up, and I've worked for Dark Horse and Disney as well. And you know, I started out with like a human. I wanted to be an animator. I did, and I was awful at it.
Same thing. I was actually good at it. I just hated it.
Oh, really? I was awful. I could only make a ball bounce like for a little bit, and then it was an unbelievable ball bounce. So I was like, well, I'm gonna switch. But I started doing comics because my best friend really liked this boy, And she's like, hey, he does comic books, so can you just wingman me? And can you just get to know him so I can get to know him, I can date him? I'm like, I don't know anything about comic books. And the story was Jesus and the devil team up to save the universe. Yeah, I did it for her. I did it for my best friend. But that was the very first comic I ever drew. And I'm never showing anyone, just so you know.
How do I follow up there? But, okay, over 16 years, you seem to have developed this different style.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jesus and the devil works in that style.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No. Jesus with his long hair, though, I can make that work. It'd be very pretty, though.
But perhaps you want to talk about how you got influenced in the style? I mean, it's a kind of unique style.
Yeah, I started out doing North American comic style. So like I said, like Top Cow was my biggest influence. And I was drawing like Mark Silvestri and Michael Turner, and I really liked it. And then I started to watch anime as it started to become more available in North America. And I think it was when I started watching Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask came on the screen that I was in love. I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this crime fighter in a tuxedo? He was so hot, he was so cute. And I had the biggest crush, so I sort of abandoned North American comics just for Tuxedo Mask. Just for Tuxedo Mask, I know. Yeah, it never worked out between the two of us, but I don't know, it was something so compelling about also the way that the Japanese tell stories. So it's very character-based, and they have concluding stories, unlike in North American comics where stories tend to go on forever. I mean, I don't know how many times Superman has died and come back to life, and Phoenix from X-Men, so I couldn't handle it anymore because it never seemed to end. And so I just she's back.
I don't know her. That's usually when I see the character. My first impression is she's back.
I know. I read the Wikipedia of Phoenix, and I gave up halfway. I'm lost. I'm so lost. So for me, the Japanese aesthetic is like hand in hand with the way they tell a story. It's very romantic, and it's like everything they do is passionate. Like there's animes about cooking, and I love to cook, but the way that they cook on these shows, they're just like their eyes burn with flames, and it's so entertaining. So I just remember wanting to do that. I wanted to be funny and cute and sexy at the same time. So anime and manga is that. It's like that whole combo for me.
And speaking of funny, cute, and sexy, ponies.
Yeah, actually, I started off just like you. I do standard comic style. There's kids in the audience, so I can't. One of my first titles actually got published with, and actually had a swear word in it. So it's really funny because then when I started working on All Age stuff, I didn't sell that book anymore. But actually, my two first things I started getting published was I was really good at doing pinups. And I was really good at drawing like very mainstream comic style women, and I was okay at the guys. But I got published for two companies where all their characters were black characters. So for the first 3 years of my career, everyone seriously thought I was a tall black dude. So they went around looking for me, and I knew every single time they were looking for me to get the book signed because you would see this guy walk up and down the aisle multiple times, just looking very confused. And then he finally, this happened so many times, it became a running joke with my friend who sat beside me. They're like, they're looking for you. They don't think you're who you are. So they usually come find me, they're like, did you draw this? I'm like, yeah, there's my name. They're like, I wasn't sure if that was a mistype or not. But you drew this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, no offense, but I thought you were a black dude. I'm like, he's like, you draw very beautiful women. I'm like, thank you. But it was really cool, and I'm so happy. And one of the companies that were called Stormbreakers, I could say Stormbreakers, and they were amazing people to work with. And I'm so honored that they published me so earlier on, and they had so much. We still keep in touch, and we see each other at San Diego every year. But they were great guys, and the fact that they believed in me enough to publish me several times and establish a very, very awesome fan base who really was very confused every time they saw me. But I was all my first portfolios were very standard comic book style. And actually what happened is a friend of mine, because I did funny enough, I did all my layouts in that cute style that if you look at my non-pony stuff, you'll see my cute style. If you read my Gem and the Holograms or Transformers, you'll notice that's my style. And that's what I get hired for now, away from doing like the My Little Pony or the Grumpy Cat, where I stay on style. But he's like, you do your layouts, why don't you draw more like that? It's really cute. I'm like, no one's gonna like it. What are you talking about? They like this stuff, the pinups and the gorgeous women and the very busty women, and they're like, try it. I'm like, all right. So one show, I just put out 3 cutesy prints. They were hot. I'm like, oh, so I can draw. And I tell people that style isn't something you should force. Style is something that comes naturally over practice. The more you practice, the better you get, the more your style will develop. And that's what happened with my cute stuff is I kept doing my layouts that way and I liked drawing that way, and the more I drew, the better I got at it. Oh, trust me, my first cutesy ones, which were really popular, I look back at them and I'm like, ah, I just think that was good. It's still cool, but I can see I've grown a lot as an artist over the years. And that's really how I got started. It's just believing in myself and someone believing in me that my style can grow and I don't have to work in mainstream style if I don't want to.
Thank you. Cleo, let's talk about your style.
Okay, talking about style, I think you can say that style comes from what you are exposed to. So when I first read comics, I started with manga because they are in Chinese, they are published by Chongyi, and they are much cheaper than the English version. So somehow it's very strange because in Singapore, Chinese books are much cheaper than the English version. So yeah, I was reading manga a lot in my school days. Nowadays you see kids with the mobile phones and Facebook. So back then it was under the table and read manga, draw manga. Hope to see that now more rather than mobile phone. Yeah, so I was influenced by manga style a lot. For the Western comic style, I only got exposed when I was in the university. Because the franchise is so huge and I don't know where to start. Yeah, so that's the reason why it's so big, and you want to read about Superman, you don't know which way to enter, you don't know which way to approach it. So yeah, it's an amalgamation of what I have read over the years, and I don't really read the mainstream ones. Yeah, because they are so difficult to get your hands on. Yeah.
Speaking of mainstream, I mean, we've already mentioned some of the mainstream publishers you work with. What was it like working for them? And I think we're talking about a few years back as well as now.
Oh, yeah, no, my experience working with the big publishers has been really great. Dark Horse feels like family. I've been working with them for so long. They publish my art books, and they've done stationery and toys of mine, and they're so incredible. They actually let me do what I want, which is, that's not normal. Don't take my example, but yeah, we're working on my 3rd art book with them, and they just they showed me the layouts, and they're just like, well, what do we want to do? And when I did the Buffy comic, it was really friendly. It was just like, they gave me the script, and then I did the thumbnails, and they sent me back some critiques. But yeah, I feel like Dark Horse is just a really chill company, and I've been to their headquarters in Portland, and it's like the best place on earth. It's that in Boom Studios. Have you been in LA?
I only went to Boom Studios for a barbecue, which didn't involve me actually going in the studio, but involved me going to the building where the studio was and going on this rooftop lounge patio thing. I'm yet to go into the studio.
One of my first comic Boom, it was at Halloween. So everybody, including my editor, was dressed up, and I didn't realize she was in costume, and because she was dressed like the Last of Us, like the little girl, and I thought that was her outfit, like her normal thing. And then she met me outside, and then we went inside, and it was like Halloween and everything. So it was my first experience with Boom, but it's like it's beautiful. It's like they've got so much colorful art, and they've got books everywhere, and they're just like it's great. And I published Tanpopo with them, and this is again a very unique situation where Tanpopo was my self-published book, and then they asked me, like the head of Boom asked me if they could publish it as a hardcover graphic novel, and they give me complete autonomy. They don't actually give me a page count. They're like, what is the page count? I'm like, infinite. It's so my books just keep getting bigger and bigger. I was joking about how it's kind of like Harry Potter, and like by the 5th one, it's going to be this thick. I'm not even kidding. I've already scripted it. Yeah, like with them, they're so passionate about this content that they rarely edit anything out. It's like for me, they publish around my content rather than me creating content for the book.
How was your experience?
Well, Marvel's the biggest company I work for, and I won't lie, every single company I work for, I have had a positive experience so far. So I love working with them. The editors at Marvel were fantastic. I love working with IDW. I'm happy that so many of the artists trust me. I like to refer to myself as a chameleon artist. I think that if you have a talent where you're able to adjust your style to other styles and be on model, it opens up that many more possibilities. So, for example, I do My Little Pony, so I adjusted my style to My Little Pony, but you're allowed to have a little freedom, so I'm able to add a little of myself in it. But I got asked to work for Archie Comics on Sonic the Hedgehog, which means I have to be right on model with Sonic the Hedgehog. And then I submitted my samples, and they're like, good job, here's work. And then same thing with like Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab, all of them. Oh, and Grumpy Cat, I have to be on model with Grumpy Cat. So I keep getting offered these jobs because I'm a really good artist to adapt to the style they need. So there's a lot of they call them house styles, and I can do that. And that's why I keep getting so much work that's not just ponies, is because they're like, can you draw this? I'm like, yeah, I can. No, I can't. I just have to practice it before I can draw it. Trust me, every single day I go, yeah, I can do this, I can do this. It takes me a couple tries before I can do it. So Sonic the Hedgehog, when they offered me the chance to work on it, they're like, can you draw Sonic? And I'm like, yeah, I can. But it took me I had like a good 3-4 days to submit samples. So guess what I did for those 3-4 days? All I did was draw Sonic the Hedgehog till I came up with a really good model sheet, submitted it, and he's like, all right, now you can do it. So that was really fun because I grew up playing the Sonic the Hedgehog games, working on Sonic the Hedgehog. I was like, yeah. So I did some sequentials and the cover for it. But I love working for every single company. IDW, the other editors, not just my My Little Pony editor, really like the work I do. That's why I get hired to work for other editors. Bobby's my main editor. I work for Sarah. I work for John, who edits the Gemini Holograms and the Transformers books. So I like that I'm able to work for other editors, not just on the My Little Pony. And Denton got me a job for working on Judge Dredd, so I worked on a Judge Anderson cover. But I proved to them that I have my own style, I'll adapt to house style, and I hit my deadlines. So I love working for all the companies, and they like working with me. Yay!
But that's adapting styles. I mean, do you have, you said you did your own self-published comics for money.
Yeah.
What happens in those situations?
Well, I want to go back to self-publishing. I think once I establish myself a little better right now, working for the companies is really great, and I'm getting so much work that I had to put self-publishing to the side. It is something I eventually want to go back to, and I feel that if I keep working for these bigger companies, I can establish a bigger fan base, and I hope that will make it easier to self-publish. And the nice thing is, once you establish this relationship with the bigger companies, if you do want to self-publish like yourself, you have that relationship, so they trust you, and they're more willing to work with you. So I also hope that by working constantly for all these big companies and proving myself to them, that when I do go back to self-publishing, that maybe they'll be willing to publish everything that I've worked on. So that's also one of the main reasons I'm trying to focus on working for the companies right now, but self-publishing is something I'm going to go back to.
Oh, sorry, I wanted to say that the only time, like, I'm actually the opposite of you, where I have my style, and then when I'm hired, it's because they want to see the character done in my original style, right?
And that's so cool, by the way.
Thank you. And I work with Disney, and this was the funniest thing that's ever happened. So Disney, you do what they tell you to do. It's Disney, right? So they asked me to work on this character, and I did it. So I did all these thumbnails, and then I got back what was like bad homework. I had apparently their animation department drew over mine the correct way to draw the character, and it was all these red marks and X, this is not how you draw this face, and this, I can't say what I did because I'm under NDA, and I just went how you draw this character. I'm like, what? I don't need to argue with you, but you hired me to draw it my way, so maybe you should let me draw it my way, you know? She doesn't have 6 fingers. The character doesn't have 6 fingers. And so I actually had to like go back and forth with them and kind of argue that, you know, this is what you asked me to do. And it was such an odd experience because I'm used to them asking me to do everything that I do. But eventually we came to a good agreement, you know? Yeah, sorry.
You've got 2 self-published comics here. What made you want to take these 2 styles? What made you want to take it into self-publishing?
Actually, would you consider SPH mainstream?
No, it depends how much are they paying you.
Okay, because again, regarding style, I believe that the style should serve your story. You don't just draw because it looks good. It depends on what you are supposed to draw. So I do have different ways of handling different genres. So currently, these 2 books are 2 very different works, and people often ask me, why do you draw in such distinct styles? It almost seems like it's done by 2 different artists. And so I think, why not? Why is it that one artist needs to stick with one style? You can have as many styles as you want to, depending on the need of your story. So I'm not so focused on, oh, I must have that style just because it looks good.
But, I mean, no.
Really cool, both of them. I was just looking.
Camera censoring, maybe. I don't know. So this is Liberador Samado. It's almost, what would you describe?
This is, some people have described it as a hybrid between Death Note and Constantine, which I don't know how accurate it is, but it's halfway between manga and Western kind of style. Yeah.
And then you have something that's
Oh my god, I love this
not
one.
quite
Yeah, it's
Constantine versus Death Note.
this is something from the SPH days, because when I work with newspapers, if you are drawing newspaper comic strips, you can't do things that are too detailed, because when you print your stuff on newspaper, there is printing resolution issues and your lines have to be really precise. So yeah, we worked on a lot of funny comic strips, and this is where that style developed. So I do use this kind of style to tell something that is more humorous.
So for both these 2 books, you're both the writer and the artist.
Yes.
How? How do you do them both simultaneously?
Why not? Because actually, I find it very curious in maybe let's say the US, the writers do the writing and the artists do the art. It almost seems like the artist is sort of like the slave for the writer, for the story. And if you are the inker, if you are the colorist, you're not that well known. So this pipeline is very different from how they work in Japan, where most of the time, if you are the artist, you create the story. And the editor will be there to help you to move your story along. So I always believe that if you're an artist, you should sometimes develop your own story, because I don't see it as mutually exclusive. You can be a good writer and a good artist. Yeah.
Thank you. So, I mean, from someone who's been in the industry for 16 years, for 10 years, do you think it's easier now for women to enter the industry?
Well, I don't know how it is now, but I know that when I first started out, there were very many girls. I was kind of, when I was walking in the hallway, literally men would lean out of their booth and they'd look and they'd be like whispering like, that's a girl, that's a girl, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. There weren't a lot of women in the industry at the time, and it's really amazing to see how many, like, I can't even tell if there's more guys or girls here. And it's just changing, and I think it's not easier or harder. I think it's just now women like comics more than they used to, and I think Chris Hemsworth is responsible for that, because he's, I mean, yeah, all Thors look like that. I'd want to draw that, you know. But no, I think if you're talented and you're a hard worker, I think it doesn't matter what gender you are, honestly. For me, when I first started, I think people noticed me more because I was a girl, but it was also my talent, I think, and my ability to pull all-nighters to meet a deadline. So that was my
not easier or harder just because you're a woman. If you can hit a deadline, it doesn't matter what your gender is or if you have no gender. You're hitting that deadline and you're getting work because you've proved yourself. If you miss that deadline, guess what? You're not getting any more work because the editor knows that you're not reliable. So I tell everyone, it's like, oh, what's it like being a woman in comics? I'm like, I hit deadlines, I don't sleep, and I take on too much work to make sure I can pay the bills.
Yeah.
But I can deliver quality work on time. I think the huge difference now is maybe it's because mainstream comics weren't for everyone. Maybe it's just because not as many women like that style. But now we have so much self-publishing and independent comics. And truthfully, if you watch any artist alley now, there's so many women, but they're all doing their own thing. I think now women realize that, hey, I don't have to just draw superheroes. I can do other things as well. And I think this is why there are more women in comics now. And I think now with the movies and more toys and more games, I think comics are becoming a lot more popular. It's actually kind of cool to be a nerd now. And I think that's also one of the reasons more women are becoming more forward about liking comics and not just having their comic collection in a closet. Like, I hid my comic collection all throughout grade school, most of high school, because I was already a nerd. Like, I was so different than all my friends. I dressed different, I acted different, I liked anime and comics. But the moment I said that to a lot of my friends, they were like, who are you? So it was just awkward. And it wasn't until in high school that I became more confident with myself, and my friends who found my comic collection were like, hey, this is actually really cool. I became more confident. Before that, it was only like 2-3 friends that knew I liked comics, because otherwise they would shun me. But now you tell someone you like comics, and they're like, really? You read comic books? That's so cool. I'm like, I like this. And I think now with more cosplay as well, there's so many women cosplayers who know their comics, who know everything about anything, and just they were shy and afraid to say it. But now it's a culture thing, and I think that is why there are more women. But if you want to work in the industry, hit your deadlines, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, completely.
You're an art editor. Do your students the students find interesting that you do this?
I didn't tell them that I'm doing this, so they're supposed to be working now, not coming here to the convention. But anyway, yeah, I tend to keep work and fun separate. Oh yeah, the women issue. It's actually a myth to say that comic is a boy thing. I think people have this myth because femboys don't talk to girls, so they don't know that women are out there doing stuff. But in the Asian context, if you're looking at, for example, manga, there is so many women creators drawing shonen manga. You can't even tell that the creator is female just by looking at the story. Okay, so don't ever think that, oh, it's a boy's thing, so girls shouldn't do that. Oh, it's a girl's thing, so I shouldn't. Now, why miss out on half of the fun of the other side of the world? So yeah, don't segregate yourself based on gender or ethnicity or age. I think if your work is good, it doesn't matter who you are. It's not about you, it's about the work that you produce.
Thank you. So we're going to Q&A, but just one last thing. I mean, what are you working on? What does the future hold for each of you?
So at the moment, I'm working on Tanpopo 3, the graphic novel of Boom. I just put my pop painting book just went to press, and it's my follow-up to pop manga, which is the pop manga is a how to draw, and pop painting is a how to paint book, because I do gap work and I do a lot of oil painting. So this book is a how to do that. And then I have my third art book with Dark Horses coming out. It's called Rainbow Children, and that one's coming out this spring. And let me see, what else am I doing? I'm working on a gallery show for next spring in Los Angeles. So I've got a lot to do. Yeah, I don't sleep.
What's next for you?
Yeah, you learn none of us sleep very much. You just sacrifice sleep and social life.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, that's how you draw comics. You become a hermit. I walk the dogs, it's my socializing. This is when I get out with the dogs. But
Just for that, just so you can
get out. Seriously, if you're a hermit, get a dog just so you get out of the house, because you won't forget that you leave the house. You just don't want to leave. But what am I working on now? The things that got announced is next month is The next issue of Friends Forever with Sakura and Spike. This month, Gem and the Holograms Annual is coming out, which I did the cover and the work for that. It just got announced that IDW is putting out an art book, and it'll be coming out in November, I believe, so I am a part of the IDW artwork. I just got a preview of it right before coming here, and it looks good, guys. If you ever want to see the process art behind how we do the covers and how we do the interiors, pick up the art book. There's so much beautiful process art, not just for myself, but the other artists. It's not announced yet, but I bet you guys can guess that there's more pony work. More ponies are coming out, so look forward to 2016. I am working on more pony stuff, actually starting right after I get home. I'm starting on my next issue, and I'm working on Grumpy Cat covers. So it just got announced a month or two ago that Grumpy Cat has a comic book. That's right, guys, Grumpy Cat has her own book, I should say. And I'm doing the covers for it, and I've started out, the ones I'm allowed to show, I started posting on my Instagram and my Facebook fan page, so you can check those out. And just a lot more cover art, not just ponies, but I'm doing other IDW property cover art, and one of which is very popular, this show. Hint, hint, can't see what it is though. But yeah, no, a lot of more IDW, some Dynamite, and more ponies, a lot more ponies.
Future for full-time art educator. I look forward to holidays every time because that's the only free time that I have to draw stuff. I guess I have to put forward more content and at the same time work to educate the students to pursue the passion. Don't ever grow out of comics. It's not that you are, when you are past a certain age, you should behave in a certain way and therefore you shouldn't read comics. No, keep reading and keep drawing. Yeah.
And Cleo will be a comics vendor, which is an artist alley 55.
Yeah, AA55.
Okay, we've got a couple of minutes. Any questions from the audience?
I got a few questions, mostly two. First one is the one with a really cool hairstyle, other than the one sitting is like me.
Can you put the mic?
Oh, sorry. Just the first question is to the one with a really cool hairstyle. Have you seen it before in a 24 hours comic documentary before? And if yes, how's the event? And the second question is, have you guys looked into those old style artists like Norman Rockwell or Will Eisner? Have you looked at their work and what do you think of them?
First question was about 24-hour comic book day. Have you been involved with it?
Yes. Since its first inaugural year, I've been joining 24 hours. So for those of you who don't know, this year 24 hours comic challenge is happening on the first Saturday of October. Go and register. Go Google online Singapore Comics Challenge 24 hours and yeah, look at what people are doing. It's a full 24 hours of non-stop drawing and no sleep, a lot of caffeine and Red Bull and sugar, and just stay in a room and drawing with so many other comic lovers. So it's a good experience. If you like comic, go join such events. Network. Don't just coop up in your bedroom and draw your stuff. You will never know the right people who you may get to know, and maybe you get opportunities to be published or come to a talk like this. Yeah, so do go out there and socialize.
And the other question was about the comic book links.
Also to directly to show you, have you ever checked out old style artists like Norman Rockwell or Will Eisner's works? And what do you think of them?
Cut us off?
Hi. Okay, there we go. No, you have to know the classics. I think that whatever you want to do, you have to know, for example, you have to have a basis in traditional artwork. Look at traditional artwork, look at the masters, go to a museum and look at the art. You have to know your history, you have to understand different techniques, you have to have a, like, I'm forgetting the term right now, but I'll remember it right after I'm done talking. Yeah, Will Eisner, Jack Kirby, you have to know everyone. You have to be knowledgeable, especially if you work in an industry. you have to know who was there before you. And like I tell everyone, even if you're a digital artist, you have to know your fundamentals. There we go. See, you just it'll come to me eventually. You have to know your fundamentals, and that is not also knowing the creators that were there years and years ago and the famous painters, but it's also for yourself. You have to understand color balance, you have to understand color theory, you have to understand anatomy. Just because I draw colorful little horses does not mean I don't know my anatomy. I have a very, very strong knowledge base in my anatomy, whether it is horses, animals, people, and I understand perspective. This is something you need to know, no matter if you want to draw comics, if you want to get into animation, you have to know all these things. So you study your basics to get anywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying.
Apologies, I just went on. Do you have any favorite books on Will Eisner or any other all-star artists?
Well, when they come back to me, I'm gonna mention a book which I recommend to everyone. This is not my favorite artist, but it's a book that I think if you want to tell sequential art, you should read it. Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. If you ever go to any of my panels, you'll hear me repeat this like a broken record. Another book, even if you do not care for the style, Marvel's Drawing Comics the Marvel Way. I'm recommending this not because I want you guys all to draw Marvel, but it talks about the fundamentals which I'm mentioning to you guys. It talks about anatomy, and no matter what your style is, you need to know this. So those are two books I highly recommend. Books I like, I love Walking Dead. End up Week 3 and Beasts of Burden. Yeah, there's a lot of books. Kids do not read Week 3. Adults, you can read Week 3. Beasts of Burden is beautiful. I just like Spider-Gwen's really great. Everyone should check out Spider-Gwen. I love that. And the new Batgirl's been amazing. Gotham Academy right now is really, really good. So these are just some titles I've been checking out, which I'm obsessed with.
Well, I've got speaking of how to draw, like I've got my pop manga book, which teaches you how to draw manga. And it starts out with the fundamentals, and it shows, I'd say specifically, learn how to draw correctly and learn the rules so that you can bend them after. Like once you've learned them, then you can just twist them into I paint girls who have holes in their chest and they're melting rainbows. So, but I know how to draw the anatomy of it.
Understand it, that's what you do.
Exactly. And then books that I would recommend, I love Hatsukoi Limited and Natsume Jincho was a really good manga. The anime is so sad, and I cry every time. But I would recommend those ones.
Favorite series, there are just too many. Actually, I have to confess that Will Eisner, maybe not yet. Until I find the free time, I will check out more of it. But anyway, don't just look at the classics, go and look out for original independent comics to support them.
One more question for someone else.
Okay, I forgot to mention, I have a cover with BM Puppy Cat coming out. I know, it's so cool. It's the cutest. I have no idea when it's coming, but I've done it, so it's happening. I'm so excited.
Okay. Yeah, what's the question? Yes, it's on.
So just something kind of unrelated. Do any of you have like any favorite memorable video games? Recent video games that you guys have played?
Video games.
I love video games, but I don't know if they've influenced how I draw. Shadow of the Colossus is one of my absolute all-time favorites because it twisted the story and in a way that I wasn't expecting, and at the end I was just so emotional about it, and it's a beautiful game. If you've never played it, you absolutely should. And then there was this one, it's a black and white game, and there's no music, it's just sound effects, and I can't remember the name of it, but you play this character and he goes through this black and white world. My husband, sorry?
Is that Limbo?
Limbo, yes. Oh my god, I love Limbo. So good. Those are my favorites, and I think actually they both definitely I think I've just, in my subconscious, they're always present. As well as, oh no, you know what, I forgot the name of it, but you go ahead now, I'll remember it later.
It's hard because I...
Catherine. Sorry. It was Catherine. Catherine, yeah. Oh, it's hilarious.
I won't lie, I play video games I used to be a pretty big gamer, but the thing is, once you start working full time, you start working to afford things, but once you can afford things, you have no time to actually do those things. It's a really annoying thing, but I used to be a hardcore gamer, so now my reward is anytime I hit a deadline, I'm allowed to play video games. So I play Disney's Infinity right now, and Destiny. Destiny is stunning. Those visuals, wow. Literally my character just stands there just so I can look around and I start getting shot. I'm like, oh yeah, I should go back to shooting things. But Bioshock is visually beautiful. Like, I love the Bioshock games because they're creepy, but they're gorgeous games to look at. I wouldn't say they influence me, but it's just, I'm mesmerized by the beauty, and they're great games. But can't think of any that highly influenced me. I just know Bioshock and Destiny are just beautiful games to look at, and they're great stress relief for me, because I sometimes just like to go back and shoot things, because I used to play a lot of Halo and Gears of War, which now I barely game, but I still love those games.
I don't really play video games because I tend to die at level 1, so I get around the issue by going to YouTube and watch people's walkthroughs. Yeah, and it will show me all the movies and stuff like that. But in terms of style that influenced me, I would say that Destiny, definitely go and look at not only the characters, but how they design the set, the sceneries. If you're a comic book artist, you can't just draw pretty characters. You need to know how to design your world, your sets, your vehicles, your animals to fit your entire worldview. So go and take a look at the art of Destiny, the art book which I bought, and it's so awesome. Also Assassin's Creed, yeah, these two are the major ones, and also Halo.
Thank you. So I guess we've come to the end of this panel. Thank you once again to Camilla, to Agnes Garbowska, to the creator. You'll find Camilla right at the end of the hall. She's right at the end, but yeah, she's got a booth there. Agnes will be somewhere near the middle.
That's my name, and then like middle back-ish.
Yeah. Just follow the ponies.
Just look for the ponies.
Follow the ponies.
All the ponies, they're awesome. They're being great this weekend, and you guys, thank you.
And Cleo is the comics vendor at AA55. So once again, thank you for spending 45 minutes with us.